Hi, welcome to Budget MTG Decks. All magic fun, all cards under $1. Now, do you enjoy adding counters to your permanents? Do you like seeing them grow turn after turn and getting the power that comes with that? Or do you feel that that might be a little bit too slow? If you feel it's too slow, maybe you could use 5 infinite counter combos. You won't believe our budget.
Combo 1, Sunbond Feeder. For this combo, we're going to need Sunbond. Sunbond is an enchantment aura, which gives the creature an ability, which states, whenever you gain life, put that many +1/+1 counters on this creature. We're also going to need Spike Feeder. Spike Feeder is a 0/0 creature which enters the battlefield with 2 +1/+1 counters on it. It also has a very interesting ability. The second ability states, remove a +1/+1 counter from Spike Feeder, gain 2 life. Okay, so to make the combo go off, we're going to start with Spike Feeder on the battlefield, enchanted with Sunbond. Now we can use Spike Feeder's second ability and remove a +1/+1 counter from it and gain 2 life. At this point, Sunbond triggers, and we get to put 2 +1/+1 counters on Spike Feeder. We can repeat this process as many times as we like, each time removing a +1/+1 counter and gaining us 2 +1/+1 counters. Additionally, we also gain 2 life each time we do this, giving us an infinite amount of counters and also an infinite amount of life. Combo 2, Enduring Ego. For this combo, we're going to need Enduring Scalelord. Now, Enduring Scalelord is a 4/4 dragon, and whenever one or more +1/+1 counters are placed on other creatures you control, we get to put a +1/+1 counter on this card. We're also going to need Altered Ego. Altered Ego costs X, 2, a green and a blue, and is a 0/0 shapeshifter. We may have Altered Ego enter the battlefield as a copy of any creature on the battlefield, except it enters with X additional +1/+1 counters on it. So that is that X extra mana that we pay. So to make the combo go off, we're going to need Enduring Scalelord on the battlefield. Then we're going to cast Altered Ego for 5 mana, and have it enter as a copy of Enduring Scalelord, except it comes in with an additional +1/+1 counter. Now our original Enduring Scalelord triggers, and we get a +1/+1 counter, which triggers our copy of Enduring Scalelord, and that one gets a +1/+1 counter, which triggers our original Enduring Scalelord, and, well, you get the idea. So you can repeat this process an infinite amount of times until you feel you have enough counters on both creatures. Combo 3, Carrion, Trow, Guildmage. For this combo, we're going to need Carrion Feeder. Now, Carrion Feeder is a 1/1 zombie, which allows us to sacrifice a creature to put a +1/+1 counter on it. We're also going to need Renclaw Troll. Renclaw Troll is a 2/2 troll with Persist. Now, Persist states that whenever this creature is put into the graveyard from play, if it had no -1/-1 counters on it, return it to play under its owner's control with a -1/-1 counter on it. Finally, we're going to need Guildmage is a 2/2 elf wizard, which has a very cool, useful ability. Now, the first one states pay 2 mana, and then this turn, each creature you control enters the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter on it. So, to make the combo go off, we're going to start with all the cards on the battlefield. Then we need to pay a green and a blue mana to activate Guildmage's first ability. Now this turn, our creatures will enter the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter on it. Now we're ready to sacrifice our Renclaw Trow to our Carrion Feeder, giving the Carrion Feeder a +1/+1 counter. The Renclaw Trow dies and returns to the battlefield with a -1/-1 counter on it, as it had Persist. But it also enters with a +1/+1 counter from our Guildmage. The positive and the negative counters cancel each other out, leaving us with a counterless Renclaw Trow, ready to repeat the process an infinite number of times and giving our Carrion Feeder an infinite number of counters. Combo 4, Leech Favor Menace. Now for this combo, we're going to need Leech Bonder. Leech Bonder is a 3/3 Merfolk Soldier, which enters play with 2 -1/-1 counters on it. More importantly, we get to pay a blue mana and untap it to move a counter from target creature onto another target creature. We're also going to need Karametra's Favor. Now, Karametra's Favor allows enchanted creature to tap to add 1 mana of any color to our mana pool. We're also going to need Corpsejack Menace. Now, this creature states that if 1 or more +1/+1 counters would be placed on a creature you control, we're going to be putting twice that many +1/+1 counters instead. And finally, we're going to need Bond Beetle. Bond Beetle enters play, and we get to put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. So, to make the combo go off, we're going to start with Leech Bonder enchanted with Karametra's Favor and Corpsejack Menace on the battlefield. Now we're going to cast Bond Beetle, targeting itself for the +1/+1 counter. As Corpsejack Menace is on the battlefield, we're going to put an additional +1/+1 counter on the Beetle for a grand total of 2 +1/+1 counters. Next, we're going to tap our Leech Bonder to produce a blue mana using Karametra's Favor. With that blue mana, we will untap Leech Bonder using this creature's own ability to move a +1/+1 counter from Bond Beetle to Corpse Check Menace, placing 2 +1/+1 counters on it rather than just the one we moved from Bond Beetle. Now we're going to once again tap and untap our Leech Bonder to move a +1/+1 counter from Corpse Check Menace to Bond Beetle, giving the Beetle 2 +1/+1 counters. As you can see, we can repeat this process an infinite number of times, each time removing a +1/+1 counter and adding 2 +1/+1 counters. Combo 5, Jeskai Coatl Saw. For this combo, we're going to need Jeskai Ascendancy. Now, Jeskai Ascendancy is an enchantment that states that whenever you cast a non-creature spell, creatures you control get +1/+1 till the end of turn. We get to untap those creatures, and we also get to draw and discard a card. Now, we're also going to need Lorescale Coatl. Lorescale Coatl is a 2/2 snake that states that whenever you draw a card, you get to put a +1/+1 counter on it. Next, we're going to need Banishing Knack. Banishing Knack is a instant for 1 blue that allows the creature targeted till the end of turn to tap to return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. And finally, we're going to need Bonesaw, a 0-costed artifact equipment. So to make the combo go off, we're going to start with Jeskai Ascendancy, Lorescale Coatl, and Bonesaw on the battlefield. Next, we're going to cast Banishing Knack and target our Lorescale Coatl. This gives our Lorescale Coatl the ability to tap to return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. This triggers Jeskai Ascendancy, untapping our Lorescale Coatl, giving it +1/+1 to the end of turn, not to be confused with a +1/+1 counter, and allowing us to draw and discard a card, which does put a +1/+1 counter on the Coatl. It seems like we've already gotten quite a lot of value from this move, but we're going to take it to the next level. At this point, we're going to tap the Coatl to return Bonesaw to our hand and cast it once again for free. The Bonesaw is a non-creature spell, so we're going to untap the Coatl, giving it +1/+1 to the end of turn, and drawing and discarding a card and putting a +1/+1 counter on it. At this point, we can repeat the process as many times as we like, each time giving the Coatl an additional +1/+1 till the end of turn and a +1/+1 counter, plus allowing us to draw and discard a card as often as we want. Remember that this combo is limited to the cards in your library, as you can mill yourself out doing this too many times.
Well, those are 5 infinite counter combos you won't believe our budget. Remember, we use only cards of $1 or less, so they're not too expensive to try out. Also, they're also not a lot of fun to play against, so use them with caution. Now, if you want to interact with us, please join us on Facebook, Twitter, and of course, subscribe to us on this channel. That's it. Thanks for watching. I'm David, and this was Budget MTG Decks.